Should Clemson be concerned? Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with instant analysis, as we do all day on Saturday. And we had a couple shockers and a near shocker in Death Valley, but Clemson survives Boston College 34-28 in the Tigers' latest in a long line of upsets or near upsets in the ACC. So please like, comment, share the videos on social media, and of course subscribe. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live, which is every day, typically multiple times per day with call-in shows and team-specific live streams. All right, 2016, Pitt 43-42 in Death Valley. James Conner gets the win over Deshaun Watson. Also, a game that's been under the radar and lost in the annals of Clemson dominance in recent years. The NC State game, in which NC State could have won the game with a chip shot 30-yard field goal. Clemson didn't do anything to stop them. They didn't win the game. NC State failed to win it, missed the 30-yarder that would have cost Clemson the college football playoff and a national championship. That game gets lost at times. 2017, of course, a bad Syracuse team wins as a 4-8 team. Clemson still goes to the college football playoff. 2018 was the near miss by Syracuse at Clemson. Chase Bryce pulling out the 4th and 6 play that led to the game-winning score as Syracuse won. 2019 as Clemson won. 2019, of course, the North Carolina averted 2-point play. 21-20, Clemson escapes. 2020, here we are. Boston College, the latest in this run of ACC near misses or upsets against Clemson. BC led at 28-10 late second quarter, and you would have thought, okay, no Trevor Lawrence. The reason why BC's out 28-10 is because the backup has not done the job. But DJ Uiagalelei had a great game. Now, Trevor Lawrence probably would have played better, but considering first start against a quality opponent that stopped the run and put the pressure on Uiagalelei to make the throws, he played extremely well. 30 of 41, hit on at least his first 8 passes, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers out of Uiagalelei. So he played great. It wasn't him. He didn't lose the game or nearly lose the game. Boston College's run defense on Travis Etienne, exceptional in the first half. Good for the game, but exceptional in the first half. 11 carries, 29 yards, and they only gave up 3.3 yards per carry to Clemson. The pass rush was even good. One play in particular pretty much that stopped a drive in Boston College territory is when Roberts pushed Jackson Carman pretty much into Uiagalelei and created the sack there. Travis Etienne still carried for 84 yards on 20 carries. Final play of the third quarter was historic as Travis Etienne became the all-time leader in ACC rushing, I believe passing famous Amos Lawrence of North Carolina. I believe. I did not look that up, but that's what the brain tells me. Much like the Ohio State game in the college football playoff last year, Etienne was turned into pass receiver primarily. 20 carries, 84 yards, so he got some room in the second half, but 7 catches for $140 burned BC. Of course, the first half was highlighted by the C.J. Lewis tremendous catch and touchdown by Boston College, but also Brandon Sebastian with the 97-yard scoop and score. So not to be lost there, and it typically takes those kind of plays, luck plays, to pull off the upset, that Boston College had stopped Clemson on first and second down from the 2. So they were in the midst of a goal line stand. But there was a bit of luck there, and Travis Etienne, for some reason, did not shape his arms to take the football as he has a zillion times in his life. He grabbed at the football, and the mesh point was messed up. And Brandon Sebastian for 97 yards, and it was 21-10 at that point, and then out to 28-10. B.T. Potter with a 52-yard field goal at the end of the first half. That was key in kind of getting Clemson back to the locker room within 2 scores at 28-13. Side note here, this was the largest deficit for an AP number one team at home at halftime since 1950 when Notre Dame trailed Purdue by 20 points. Travis Etienne came out the second half, returned the opening kickoff out to the 44, big kickoff return, got Clemson rolling, and it was the 4th and 1 keeper by Uiagalelei that led to the touchdown. He took it in as everybody, the entire BC defense, went to Etienne, and he was off to the races for the touchdown. So that closed it to 28-20. Senior Cornell Powell, who's been not a factor, has probably caught about 20 to 25 passes in his career as a senior coming into this game, was at one point targeted 11 times, 11 receptions for 105 yards. So he became a factor. Amari Rogers, the number one receiver on the team, though, had the tremendous back shoulder catch in which now this thing was not a typical back shoulder. It was inside, and this thing was humming, and he flipped his hips and caught the ball and did a tremendous job. That got Clemson within 2 at 28-26. Uiagalelei threw it to Etienne on the post route. That was a big play for the touchdown to put them in the lead with about 11 minutes left. Now, in evaluating the Clemson defense in this one, and you would think that they had underperformed in giving up 28 points through less than one half, but consider that James Skowski, probably their best player, out. Certainly their leader on defense. Arguably their best defensive lineman, Tyler Davis, out. Linebacker Mike Jones, another starter, out in this game. And they still held a BC offense that is the most explosive BC offense that we've seen in over 10 years with Phil Jurkovec at quarterback, who I just think is exceptional. Didn't play great in this game, but again, he had no running game support, and the pass protection was spotty. And there were a few drops. Zay Jones dropped a key third down play that would have converted and kept a drive alive in the second half. But Jurkovec went 12 of 24, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Get this, he accounts for 79% of Boston College's offense, 79% of their offense. And in this one, he had 204 yards, and they had 208, so that number's skyrocketing. That's the most of any ACC player in 15 years. So they need to figure out a way to take some pressure off of Phil Jurkovec, their transfer from Notre Dame. Jeff Hafley doing an exceptional job at Boston College. They're playing much better. Look at what they're doing week to week. They took North Carolina to the wire, a 2-point conversion with 45 seconds left. And he was brought in, and it was stated at his opening news conference, one of the reasons that he was hired was not just because of his coaching prowess, but his last job was at Ohio State, and BC wanted to bring in some of that winning elite culture to BC. To pull off this kind of upset, typically an unranked team over a number one team on the road needs to be flawless, and BC was nothing close to flawless. They had 11 penalties for 92 yards, and some of them were costly. They had 2 consecutive penalties on an illegal shift and a hold when they punted the ball. I believe their punter, can't think of his name, Carlson, punted it down to the Clemson 1-yard line. They could have had Clemson pinned with a small lead at that point. They were either up 28-26 or it was after the Etienne touchdown, but to set up a game-winning drive down at the 1-yard line, but they had 2 consecutive penalties in which the punter again then pinned Clemson down to the 2-yard line, and that was botched. Isaiah McDuffie, a tremendous linebacker for BC, one of their best players on defense, had a personal foul that a roughing the passer that bailed Clemson out of a third down situation that they would have had to punt. That was key late in the ball game as well. So the Clemson defense, despite giving up 28 points, was pretty stellar despite missing 3 starters. Okay, now moving forward, Boston College at 4-3, 3 losses in the ACC, so they're out of the race. They go to Syracuse next week. They should be a substantial favorite, but there's the matchup right there in the ACC. Game of the year, as we expected. Notre Dame should be undefeated. They lead Georgia Tech right now 14-7 first half. Clemson 7-0 visits. The big question, will Trevor start? When was the test? When did it come in positive? And then the backup test, we don't know exactly the timing of that. The report came out Thursday night, which would make Trevor Lawrence ineligible. 10 days later, of course, would be Sunday after the game. But we don't know when the test, that's going to have to be announced in regards to Trevor Lawrence eligibility. But Uiagalelei played well. He should be ready for the start at Notre Dame. Number 1 rated quarterback coming out of high school. Of course, Clemson fans, and we all want to see Trevor Lawrence on the field against Notre Dame. But certainly the backup situation, very stable. He's an outstanding player and will be in the future. Clemson's future, like we doubted it, is in great hands. Please like, comment, share the videos on social media. Subscribe right here to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, and we will see you soon.